Filmfestival Anima viert zijn 30ste verjaardag en daarvoor nodigen ze een aantal grote namen uit. Een van hen is de Duitse animatiekunstenaar Max Hattler, die ook een live performance en een masterclass zal geven. Wij zochten hem op in Londen, de stad waar hij momenteel woont.
I guess what interests me in animation is that it combines all the arts. I was always interested in kind of visual arts, but I was always also interested in music and sound, working with time. And it sort of took me a while to find a way of combining them, and I found that animation is the ideal way of doing that. I mean, animation for me is, it's not cartoons. It's where cinema came from, right? Animation is not a subsection of cinema, but what we call live-action film is actually a variation of animation. You're making images move, over time. That's it. So it's for me, animation is everything. The performance I played with Noriko is called Ha Ha Ha. It's a mixture of drawn animation, clips that are pre-prepared but then kind of arranged in real time. I'm kind of dealing more with the kind of background layer, which is more kind of graphics-based, using my way of working. More recently, I've been using a new visual instrument for this part, which is called a Hattlerizer, which is a kind of custom-built software that is really responsive, and it kind of functions like an instrument. I can play it like someone would be playing an instrument. Music, sound is very important in my work as the image, although I tend to concentrate on the image. It's kind of a lot of the time what gives meaning to the image. Maybe it's more painting than film, or because it kind of describes an atmosphere, or it sets a mood, or it kind of takes you into a world which isn't necessarily a narrative one. It's not about telling a story, but sometimes it is about telling stories, but not through conventional means. I try to use abstraction or somewhere between abstraction and figurative to tell a story. I work a lot with patterns, with kind of mirroring, kaleidoscopic kind of effects. Sometimes it's more conceptually based, like in Collision, for example, which is a kind of abstract kind of the visualization of this so-called war on terror, looking at Islamic patterns and American quilts. Spin, I guess, is sort of looking at how violence is mediated through things like toy soldiers. It sort of becomes entertainment. I don't want to storyboard. I don't really want to know what I'm making while I'm making it, because for me it would kill the process. I'd be just kind of executing. You become a slave to your own idea that you had at the beginning, and then you spend the next 3 months just having to make it. Whereas if you keep things open, then it stays exciting all the way through. With Anat, I had a basic kind of idea of the elements, the objects that I wanted to use, and then I let it grow from there. Fan art it doesn't have any deep political message. It's really about exploring a space, an environment. It's shot in my living room through a glass mirror, and there's just objects floating and kind of configuring and reconfiguring themselves. In a way, it's a comment on a lot of digital work. People get obsessed with kind of technique and combining animation with live action and kind of creating something that's sort of magical, but often for me it loses that magic because you know that it's put together on the computer. "1923", aka Heaven, is based on the paintings of Augustin Lesage. He's using patterning and mirroring to make these massive life-size paintings. He made them in the 20s and 30s of the 20th century. He didn't go to art school. Basically, he was a minor. After a few years, he started hearing voices, which told him that he should paint. And he claims that he never painted except under the influence of those spirits that guided him. I don't know if I would call myself a spiritual person as such, but there's definitely something that is awe-inspiring about this creation, about this universe that we live in, the fact that the physics actually works, that we don't fall apart. You know, whether that is a god that created it or whether we're just very lucky to be living under these circumstances, I think, you know, either way, that's pretty amazing.